सुन न सानो छ क्या एकचोटि देऊ न हेलो सानो सुन न अस्ति हाम्रो यो मिडिया रुमको क्यामेरा कता गएर राख्यो भनेको थियो नि मिडिया रुमको क्यामेरा कि वेबक्याम कुन चाहिँ सर्कलमा गएर राख्यो भनेको थियो नि अरुणलाई सोध त अरुणलाई थाहा नि ए ल्याएर राखेछ ए ल ल ल त्यसो भने आउँदैछ ल ल ल सही त कहिले होला जस्तो लाग्दैन 53 भयो 53 एडमिट अल जस्ट 10 people are waiting to हामी निकल गरेको नि त त्यही भएर मात्र एडमिट अल गर्नु पर्यो त्यो क्लिक नगरेपछि सबैजना क्लासमै छिर्नु त्यसरी हजुरले मात्र भिडियो दिन्छ कि यो गर्ने भने चाहिँ सबैको भिडियोहरू दिनुहुन्छ जना आउँदैछ होइन हाम्रो त एकचोटि 4 वर्ष कि 5 वर्ष अगाडि यो नेपाल अप्थाल्मिक सोसाइटी हेलो जो आयो नि हुन्छ
कस्तो भयो त्यहाँ हुँदैछ थाहा हुँदैन।
शिशिर तिम्रो के आएर मेरो त यही अड्क्यो के मतलब यो सुरु नै भएन कि किन हो क्यामेरा बिना बोलेको सुनिन्छ त्यस्तो अब क्यामेरा देखिन भने त्यो भएर भने पनि गर्नु पर्यो अब आजलाई टाइम त्यति भइसक्यो फेरि मेरो एडजस्टेड हुन्छ नि कि गर्ने
हजुर अगाडि पछाडि तलमाथि गर्नु
Good morning, students. Do you hear me?
Good morning, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Yes.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to class grade 4th year. So I am Dr. Purina from ophthalmology. So all of you are there now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So today there is little bit of technical problem, so we are little bit delayed. From next time we will reschedule and we will see you. So classes will be taking about the anatomy. Then we will gradually start the clinical disease side of ophthalmology. I and Dr. Risikan sir, you will be taking your class, both theory and practical. Okay, so can we start? Are you hearing nicely?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So all of you are familiar with the eyeball. So what type of structure is the eyeball? It is a cystic structure. So how that structure is kept in a form? So it is formed or it is kept in a cystic form by some pressure inside. So it is distended by some pressure which is created by some aqueous or some structures inside it. So what is the shape of the eyeball? So generally it is referred to as a globular shape, but eyeball is not the sphere, but it is somewhat the oblate type of spheroid shape. So when we see the poles, it have got different poles, equator, So we have both the anterior and posterior pole and the equator, which is the midline. So when you come to this figure, you can see it, the poles, the anterior pole and the posterior pole of the eyeball. This is the anterior view, where this is the cornea, and this is the anterior pole, and this is the posterior pole of the eyeball. And the equator is the imaginary line which surrounds the eyeball. So equator of the eyeball lies at the midplane between the two poles, and the poles are the central point of the maximal convexity of the anterior side as well as posterior curvature of the eyeball. So which is the anterior pole and the posterior pole. So when you see the eyeball, you have to know all the structures very familiarly. So starting from anterior to posterior, you can see the eyelids. So eyelids are not seen in this picture. Then you will see the surface, and this is the cornea. And in between, after the cornea, there is the space which is called the anterior chamber. It is just a gap. There is nothing. Then you come to the iris, which is a circular, and in the center of the iris, there is a hollow space, that is the pupil. And just behind the pupil, you will see the lens. But when the pupil is not dilated, you will be able to see only the small portion of the lens. So whenever the pupil is dilated, we will be able to see a large portion of the lens. Like in this figure, which you have seen the large portion, so the pupil is dilated. Then posteriorly, there is a posterior chamber, which is a small space. Then coming from this lens, beyond the lens, we say it is the posterior segment. Till the lens, it is the anterior segment. Then after the lens, there is a vitreous body. Then behind that, there is a retina, choroid, and this is the optic nerve. So anterior to posterior, can anyone can unmute and say me the structure from anterior to posterior, please?
Ma'am, first of all, there is eyelid, which was not shown in the figure. Then cornea, anterior chamber, which was normally empty. Then comes the iris and a hollow structure called pupil, followed by lens, which are the parts of the anterior chamber. Whereas in case of the posterior chamber, there are
so anterior segment. Then posterior segment. Okay, structures of the anterior segment. These are anterior chamber is present in anterior segment. Then posterior, behind the lens is the posterior segment. Structure in the posterior segment. Okay.
Which are vitreous humor, retina, choroid, optic nerve.
Very good. So moving forward. So we have the different diameters, the anterior diameters, anterior posterior diameter, and transfer diameter. So dimension in case of adult eyeball, the anterior posterior diameter is 24 millimeter, horizontal diameter is 23.5 millimeter, vertical diameter is 23 millimeter, and circumferential as the whole eyeball is 75 millimeter, and the wall of the eyeball is 6.5 millimeter, and weight is 10 grams.
Attentive होकर पढ़े हुए
What are the codes of the covering of the eyeball? So for our easy and for the convenience of all the structures, we have divided, or there are three coats of eyeball. The outer coat is the fiber coat. Now coming here, what are the structures there in the anterior or the the fibers coat? So it is a dense, strong wall which protects the intraocular content. So any sort of trauma, it is a strong wall. It protects from any sorts of trauma or any outer circumstances. So this fibers coat is a strong wall. So what are the structures are? Anterior 1/6 of this fiber coat is transparent and it is called cornea. So the anterior part is the cornea and the posterior 5/6 part is it is opaque and it is the sclera. So cornea is set into the sclera like a watch glass. So junctions of this cornea and sclera is called limbus. So the joining of the anterior cornea, which is transparent, and the posterior opaque side is sclera. This is the limbus. It is a very important anatomical landmark. The conjunctiva, with the covering of this, it is firmly attached to this limbus area or limbus. So second is the vascular coat, which is the uveal tissues are there, the uveal structures are there, that is the iris, choroid and ciliary body. These three structures are called the uveal tissue. So it is highly vascular. The name itself is a vascular coat. So it supplies the nutritions to the various structure of the eyeball. So there are various structures which do not have their own supply, blood supply. So this vascular coat supplies the nutritions to them. So it consists of the three parts from the anterior to posterior, which are iris, ciliary body and choroid. Third is the nervous coat, which is called the retina. It is concerned with the visual functions and projects to the visual cortex, to the central nervous system, to the visual pathway. So different connections, neural connections are there. So it is the nervous coat. So how many coats are there? We have three coats: fibrous coat, vascular coat, and nervous coat. So the fibrous coat is strong and dense, and vascular coat is vascular, which consists of iris, ciliary body and choroid, and nervous coat is retina. So I think it's clear. Now moving forward, we have the segments and chamber of the eyeball. So it is divided into two segments, anterior and posterior. So anterior segments includes the crystalline lens, which is suspended from the ciliary body by the zonules, and the structure anterior to it, iris, cornea, and two aqueous humor filled space, that is the anterior and posterior chamber. This includes in the anterior segments. So please, from next class, you come little bit earlier. Very difficult to join all of you again and again. So anterior segments is, when you go back to the figure, in this figure, so the structures from here, the cornea, the anterior chamber, the iris, and this is the lens. So lens is suspended by these zonules and the part of it behind the posterior chamber. So till this are the anterior segment. And the anterior chamber, it is just the empty space beyond the cornea. So it is bounded anteriorly by the back of cornea and posteriorly by the anterior surface of iris and part of ciliary body. So it is about 2.5 millimeter deep in the center in normal adult. So it is slightly shallow in hypermetropes and deep in myopes, but it's almost equal in two eyes of the same individual. And its content is about 0.25 ml of aqueous humor, and it communicates with the posterior chamber through the pupil. So it's very important. This space which is 2.5 millimeter deep at the center in case of normal adult person. So this space can be a narrow or a shallow. So when there is a shallow anterior chamber, there are some other clinical pathological conditions, and when there are some deep anterior chamber, there are some other pathological conditions or irregular anterior chamber depth in the two eyes. So we have to think what can be the cause if there is. So normally in case of hypermetropes or who have the refractive error of hypermetropia, they have got the shallow anterior chamber, and some myopes have the who have very high power will have a deep anterior chamber. So if you see this picture, it will be more clear to you. The cornea, this is the cornea. Then when you come to this space is the anterior chamber. This white space is the anterior chamber. So the boundary of the anterior chamber, by seeing this picture, this is the cornea back. So behind the back of the cornea and the posterior boundary of the anterior chamber is this iris, and the central is the pupil, and the side is the ciliary body. And the lens is hanging by the jonules, and this is a this is the anterior segment. Then behind this are the posterior segment. So you have
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
any problem?
Yes, ma'am. The anterior segment एकचोटि फेरि भन्नु ma'am.
एन्टिरियर सेगमेन्ट भनेको चाहिँ अगाडि कर्नियाबाट हैन, यो कर्निया भयो अनि त्यसपछि यो स्पेस जुन कर्निया पछिको स्पेस भयो यो चाहिँ एन्टिरियर च्याम्बर भयो, बुझ्यो? यो एम्प्टी स्पेस। अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ हाम्रोमा आइरिसको प्लेन आउँछ, अनि यो बिचको जुन होल हुन्छ त्यो पिपिल आउँछ, अनि ह्याङ्गिङ लेन्स आउँछ, अनि यसको पछाडि चाहिँ एकदम सानो पोस्टेरियर च्याम्बरको ग्याप हुन्छ, त्यो यो यस्तै सानो हुन्छ, यतिसम्म चाहिँ एन्टिरियर सेगमेन्ट भनिन्छ। अनि एन्टिरियर च्याम्बर भनेको चाहिँ यो सेतो स्पेस मात्रै हो,
ओके
सेतो स्पेस मात्रै हो। अनि यसको त्यो सेतो स्पेस एन्टिरियर च्याम्बरको बाउन्ड्री भन तिमीहरूलाई भनेर सोध्यो भने, अब यो एन्टिरियर च्याम्बरको बाउन्ड्रीको एन्टिरियरली चाहिँ तिमीले भन्दाखेरि पछाडि यसको एन्टिरियरली चाहिँ पछाडि कर्नियाको पछाडि चाहिँ त्यसको एन्टिरियर बाउन्ड्री भयो, पोस्टेरियर बाउन्ड्री चाहिँ आइरिसको सर्फेस, अनि त्यसपछि बिचमा प्युपल, अनि साइडमा चाहिँ सिलियरी बडी हुन्छ। एन्टिरियर च्याम्बरको पोस्टेरियर बाउन्ड्री चाहिँ, बुझ्यो?
यस मैम, थ्यांक यू मैम।
Posterior chamber is a triangular space containing 0 point. अब अघि anterior chamber को space कति थियो?
0.25.
अब यसको चाहिँ it contains it's a very small space and it contains only 0.06 ml of the aqueous humor, and it is bounded anteriorly by the posterior surface of iris, the part of ciliary body, and posteriorly by the crystalline lens and its nodules, and laterally by the ciliary body. So it is a very small space. So just to flow of the aqueous. So posterior segment includes the structure posterior to the lens. So these are the vitreous humor, which is a jelly-like material which fills the space behind the lens, retina, choroid, and optic disc. So posterior segments are the structures behind the lens. So what are those structures? That are vitreous humors, retina, choroid, and optic disc. So these are the structures of the retina or the optic disc. So when we see the normal disc with the help of the direct ophthalmoscope or the indirect ophthalmoscope, normally we will not be able to see the this optic disc and retina with our torchlight, but we have to use some instrument like the slit lamp, and in the slit lamp also we will be able to see only till the anterior segment structure. So with the help of 90 diopter lens which we use in slit lamp, we will be able to see this posterior segment retina and optic nerve. So orbit, extraocular muscles, and appendages of the eye. So each eyeball is suspended by the extraocular muscles, and facial sit in the quadrilateral pyramid-shaped bony cavity called orbit. So there is one cavity of the bone where the eyeball is there, which protects. Eyeball is situated and it is protected from the surroundings by the extraocular muscles and some fibers. So each eyeball is located in the anterior orbit nearer to the roof and lateral wall, then to the floor and medial wall. So we will again discuss the anatomy of the orbit in different sections before the orbital diseases. So this is just a cavity, and where the eyeball is situated, it is near to the roof and lateral wall, then to the floor and medial wall. So eyeball is protected anteriorly by the two slotters called the eyelid. So whenever there is any type of trauma or anything, first the eyelids are closed, which protects us from the outer environment of the eyeball. So the anterior part of the sclera and posterior surface of the lids are lined by the thin membrane called conjunctiva. So there is some covering in the eyeball. So last layer is the sclera. So in that anterior part of the sclera and the lids, beyond the lid, you will see a thin whitish membrane which is very thin. So that is the conjunctiva. For smooth functioning, the cornea and conjunctiva are to be kept moist by tears which are produced by lacrimal gland and drained by the lacrimal passage. So we have two lacrimal glands on either sides on the superior temporal sides of the orbit, and they continuously secretes the tear, and we have a tear films which is made of different layers, and that will keep on moving throughout the eye, and the drainage to the lacrimal passage, so that will create some moist, and that will have the smooth blinking of the eyeball and movement of the extraocular muscles also. So these structures, eyelid, eyebrow, conjunctiva, and lacrimal apparatus are collectively called appendages of the eye. So you see where the orbit is situated. And different muscles are over there. We have the 4 recti muscles: superior rectus, inferior rectus, and the sinuses, and the upper lids and the lower lids, and obliques, superior oblique, inferior oblique, and superior oblique, so which is not all seen in these pictures. So optic nerve and orbital fat. So if you view in this manner, you will see like this. So over here also, these are the lids, and this is a face conjunctiva, and over here this is a cornea, anterior chamber, pupil. These are the iris. Then this is a posterior chamber, very small space, and this is a lens, zonules, and vitreous, then retina. So blood vessels and some nerves and arteries. So ophthalmic artery, which is a branch of internal carotid artery, which constitutes a main source of blood supply to the eyeball and other orbital structures. So ophthalmic artery. So blood supply of each ocular structure is, we will describe subsequently in each chapter, each conjunctiva gradually. So what are the branches? I think all of you have forgot these branches of ophthalmic artery. So let's revise it. So I have made some mnemonic for this. So Dr. Mac Lees, which is the name of one doctor, Dr. Mac Lees. If you remember this, it will be easy to you to know the branches of ophthalmic artery. So we have a dorsonasal branch, central retinal artery, muscular artery, ciliary arteries, lacrimal artery, ethmoidal artery, supraorbital artery, and supratrochlear artery. So if you see this figure, you can see the MAC. So MAC is the muscular artery. Then C is the central retinal artery. Then, so sorry, D, first you start with D, dorsonasal and central retinal. So dorsonasal artery. So this is a dorsonasal artery. Then central retinal artery. Then muscular artery. Then C is the ciliary arteries. So ciliary arteries, we have got anterior ciliary arteries and long and short posterior ciliary arteries. So then E, L is a lacrimal artery, then E is a ethmoidal artery, then S, supraorbital artery, and supratrochlear artery. So these are the branches of the ophthalmic artery. So if you remember this picture, if you practice this picture, it will be easy for you in the following session. So when draining blood from the eyeball into the central retinal vein, which drains blood from the retina, and anterior ciliary veins, short posterior ciliary veins, and vena vesicosa, which drains blood from the uveal tissues. So the main venous channels which ultimately gets tributaries are superior ophthalmic vein, inferior ophthalmic vein, middle ophthalmic vein, so medial ophthalmic vein, angular vein, and cavernous sinus. So this is the venous drainage to the cavernous sinus. So all these veins, superior ophthalmic vein, central retinal vein, inferior ophthalmic vein, vortex vein, and intrascleral, and so vortex vein on the either side. So it all drains into the cavernous sinus. So coming to the nervous system, what is the nerve supply? So gradually we will discuss in other section also. So sensory nerves, ophthalmic nerves, it is the smallest of the 3 divisions of the trigeminal nerve, which is a fifth nerve which supplies the various ocular structure through its branches. So lacrimal branch, frontal branch, and nasociliary branch. It has got three ophthalmic, this trigeminal nerve. It has got these three branches. It supplies the eye. So how lacrimal nerve? So it lies in the lateral side of the orbit and supplies the lacrimal gland, conjunctiva, and lateral part of upper eyelid. So lacrimal nerve, if you see in this picture, it lies in the lateral part and it supplies the lacrimal gland and conjunctiva and lateral part of upper eyelid. So frontal nerve, it is divided into two branches in the middle of the orbit, which is a supratrochlear and supraorbital. So frontal nerve, which is divided into, this is a frontal branch and it is divided into supraorbital and supratrochlear. So the supratrochlear supplies the conjunctiva, middle part of the upper eyelid and skin of the forehead above the root of the nose. And supraorbital supplies conjunctiva, central part of upper eyelid and part of the skin of forehead and skull. And nasociliary nerve, so it has got many branches. So long ciliary nerves, which are two in number, which pierces the sclera on the either side of the optic nerve, runs forward between the sclera choroid and supplies the sensory nerve to ciliary body, iris and cornea. So nasociliary nerves, it has got long ciliary nerve, communicating branches, posterior ethmoidal nerve, anterior ethmoidal nerve and infratrochlear nerve. So nasociliary nerve, so this is a nasociliary nerve. So it has got the different branches: long ciliary nerve, posterior ethmoidal, anterior ethmoidal, short ciliary, and infratrochlear. Supratrochlear is a branch of frontal nerve. So communicating branches to the ciliary ganglia forms its sensory root and their fibers passes to the short ciliary nerve to supply the ciliary body, iris and choroid. Posterior ethmoidal nerve supplies the ethmoidal and sphenoid sinuses, and anterior ethmoidal nerve is the terminal branch of nasociliary nerve which leaves the orbit through the anterior ethmoidal foramen. And infratrochlear nerve, which is very important to us in case of trauma, RTA, because this is the nerve which we feel, and some type of surgery or something also depends upon this infratrochlear nerve. So it is the terminal branch of the nasociliary nerve and it runs forward and supplies the conjunctiva, lacrimal sac, caruncle and medial part of the eyelid. So we have to see the sensations, whether the sensation is intact or not in case of ocular trauma also to this nasociliary nerve. Motor supply is third, fourth and sixth cranial nerve supplies the extraocular muscles, and seventh cranial nerves branches supplies the orbicularis oculi muscles of the eyelids. So what is the anatomical nerve supply? Which has got the parasympathetic and sympathetic. So parasympathetic through the Edinger-Westphal nucleus, which is located in midbrain. So it sends the preganglionic fibers through the third cranial nerve to the ciliary ganglia and accessory ganglia. And post-ganglionic nerve fibers from the ciliary ganglia travel along the third ciliary nerve to supply the sphincterpupillary muscles. And post-ganglionic fibers from the accessory ganglia supplies the ciliary muscles. So if you see in this picture, you can see the preganglionic fibers through the third nerve, they reaches the ciliary ganglia and the accessory ganglia. And the post-ganglionic fibers through the inferior oblique, so they reaches to the splinter pupillae and the ciliary muscles. So this is a parasympathetic supply. We will again discuss this in the when we will discuss the pupil. And the salivatory nucleus, which is located in the pons, which sends the preganglionic fibers to the facial nerve to the spinopalatine ganglia, and the postganglionic secretomotor fibers finally reach the lacrimal gland through the lacrimal nerve. So if you see in this picture, you can see how they reach the lacrimal nerve over here through the these fibers, the preganglionic fibers and the postganglionic fibers. And ciliary ganglia, which is a peripheral parasympathetic ganglia, which is placed in the course of oculomotor nerve near the apex of orbit. And parasympathetic ganglia are the autonomic ganglia of parasympathetic nervous system. Most are small terminal ganglia or intramural ganglia, and so named because they are near or within the organ they innervate. So there are some exceptions of this ganglia. There are other 4 pair of parasympathetic ganglia of the head and neck, like ciliary, spinopalatine, soft maxillary, and otic. These are not near to it. So root of ciliary ganglia includes sensory root as described above comes from the nasociliary nerve, and the sympathetic root of ciliary ganglia comes from the internal carotid plexus, and these fibers also do not rely here and pass to the short ciliary nerve to supply the blood vessels of eyeball. So parasympathetic root of ciliary ganglia arises from the nerve to inferior oblique muscles and carries the preganglionic fibers from the Ellington-Westphal nucleus, and these fibers rely here, and postganglionic fibers pass to the short ciliary nerve and supplies the splinter, pupillae and ciliary muscles. So short ciliary nerve branches of the ciliary ganglia are 10 in number. They pierce the sclera around the optic nerve and runs forward between the sclera and choroid and reach the ciliary muscles where the sensory fibers form the plexus. So if you see in this picture, you can see the short ciliary nerve . Sorry, this is the artery, but similarly it runs along with this and they forms the plexus, ciliary plexus. Sympathetic nerve is the preganglionic fibers arise from the ciliospinal center and which is located in the inferior medial lateral cell column of the spinal cord at C8, T1 and T2 level and go to the cervical sympathetic chain to rely in superior cervical ganglia. So postganglionic fibers from the superior cervical ganglia enters the skull with the internal carotid plexus and supplies the orbital arteries, receive the vasomotor fibers to the plexus around the ophthalmic artery, dilator pupillae muscles, so by the sympathetic fibers from the carotid plexus, and the lymphatic drainage of the eyelids, conjunctiva and orbital tissues are arranged in 2 groups. Medial group of lymphatic drains into the submandibular lymph nodes and lateral groups of lymphatic drains into the subauricular lymph nodes. So this is a lymphatic drainage. Okay. This is about the anatomy. Physiology we will discuss when we will discuss the lid, cornea subsequently. And this is a gross revision for your first year, second year. So you will, this slide is, do you have books of ophthalmology?
No, ma'am. Ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
I have purely followed A.K. Khurana. So many of the teachers do not like A.K. Khurana, but it is a very simple book, so I think you can follow it. But you can also take a reference from Parson and Kansky. So now you can buy A.K. Khurana and start reading it. And when an examiner will ask you which book you have followed, then you can say, we have read Purana, but we have also referred Parson and Kansky, because most of the people from IOM, they do not like A.K. Khurana, okay? So my request is, today you go to this anatomy part, which we have discussed in first year, second year. And in the next class, I will be taking you about the embryology. So it is more difficult than today class. So it will be easier if you will go through it and come in my next class on Friday. So any problem, if you have, then you can ask me. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Sound problem, ma'am.
Yes,
No.
any question?
Ma'am, can we record the classes you have taken during our Zoom lectures?
Yes, you can take it. I can give you a slide also. No problem.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
मलाई डिजिटल मिडियाको सफ्टवेयरै छैन त्यसपछि कुन सब्जेक्टको हालिदिनु होला नि
हुनुहुन्छ